So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes. The police were searching for James Thomas, believed
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. This is a show where we talk about cult and genre film, horror, sci-fi, things of the like. This definitely falls into sci-fi and kind of horror, for sure.
It's like the archetypal, whatever.
Yeah, archetypal action, horror, sci-fi. We're talking about Aliens today, directed by James Cameron. We just got finished reviewing our Monkey Man episode, which released a week before this episode. So
Member?
Member came out last week. So we're time traveling. So Joseph, we're kind of reviewing this one mostly because the trailer for Alien Romulus came out a few weeks back.
It looks cool.
It looks very cool. The new spin-off in the Alien universe, directed by Fede Alvarez, who directed Don't Breathe and the 2013 Evil Dead movie.
Exciting
shit. It's from like basically the same production team as Prey.
Hell yeah.
So as far as like, which is, I mean,
I love Prey.
Prey kicks ass, and it's exactly what I think. Prey is a pretty good example of like, if you're gonna do anything new with these like old IPs, like tell a fresh story from a fresh perspective with like a new take.
Yeah.
And at least for me, Alien Romulus feels like it's gonna do that with Alien, which, I mean, and me personally,
I think it's what it needs.
Yeah, 100%. And the Alien franchise I've always loved. Like, I've always loved Alien more than Predator. Always one of my favorites. And up till today, you'd only seen the first Alien, is that right? Oh, and the AVP movies.
Yeah. No, yeah. I had only ever seen the first Alien because to me, Aliens always seemed like, well, it seemed like it was going to be too far of a departure from what I actually like about Alien.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pretty far departure. I think it's got more in common with Predator than it does the first Alien movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone more action and like it's still got that like horror slasher movie, like people getting picked off
one by one.
Yeah, but it's definitely more broad.
Yeah,
less horror.
Yeah. Before we break into the movie itself, we can talk a little bit behind it. It came out in 1986, Aliens. It's directed by James Cameron, screenplay by James Cameron, and this was pretty much his second movie, I think, like his second major film. This came out, technically his first movie was Piranha 2. And then The Terminator was the one that really kind of made him.
That was super low budget too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah,
I think The Terminator was expected to fail.
Yeah, no, The Terminator was expected to fail, but it was a big hit in America. And then Aliens was also like a really low budget. I mean, $18.5 million was the budget of Aliens.
Holy shit.
Which even for back then is like not a lot. And interesting fact, I have the Alien Anthology Blu-ray box set, and it comes with all these behind the scenes featurettes on all the movies. And I was watching the Aliens one recently, and they were talking about how when James Cameron was brought on to film Aliens, it was a British crew. It was filmed in England.
Yeah.
And The Terminator had actually not come out in England when production started. So a lot of the British crew kind of like just didn't really know who James Cameron was as a director, and they all of them kind of thought that like, oh, he's just this like young like American
they were
director.
like openly hostile to him, right?
Yeah, they were shitty to him. But not, it was also because there was kind of a big culture clash as far as like the work styles in the movies. And you can argue,
I mean, you know, James Cameron is James Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron's known for being like pretty blunt and pretty like, James Cameron-y on set.
Almost killing people on The Abyss.
Yeah, 100%. And being a very like kind of hands-on.
I think asshole is the word we're dancing around.
Yeah. Work till you're done kind of thing. A big dick. And the British crew, like it was a bunch of older guys who had been doing it for years, and they were all about their unions and their mandatory breaks, and and James Cameron just came from a completely different world where, like, you know, he's used to working with like student filmmakers who
will give you everything.
Will give you everything because they're not making anything, and like they're.
But now you're dealing with people who this is just their job.
Yeah.
And
100%.
they expect like rights and to be treated fairly like professionals.
Yeah. So it was a nightmare of a movie. Similar with like a lot of the actors too, because a majority of the cast is American and they're like dealing with kind of British as well. Lance Hendrickson, the actor that played Bishop, said that there was a particular production assistant who like he really didn't get along with, and like they almost got into a fist fight on set. Wow. Over something. So yeah,
Commander Shepard.
Yeah, nightmarish production. But the movie itself. So let's spoiler. Tea? Oh, tea. Yeah, goddamn. Now we have tea. Last episode we didn't have tea. We're drinking. We're both drinking Yogi honey turmeric chai.
It's tasty.
Vitality. It's a herbal tea.
Thank you, Yogi.
Yep. No caffeine because it's getting kind of late.
Yep. And we both work tomorrow.
Both work tomorrow. It's supposed to be good for your immune system, good for your digestion. Yeah. So Yogi, please sponsor us, or any tea company, honestly.
Thank you, Yogi, or any tea company.
Yeah, please do so. Yeah. No. So Aliens. Joseph, what's Aliens about? Is it just Alien with an S on the end?
Kind of. It's not far off. There's that famous story of James Cameron going into the studio and writing Alien on the whiteboard.
And then writing an S.
Writing an S, and people going like, whoa. And then he put a line through the S, making it a dollar sign. People went like, oh, James Cameron, you're a genius.
You're a genius. We're giving you all our money.
But Aliens is... it's kind of the first one on a larger scale. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just going to be an action movie about shooting big bugs, and it almost is. But it has a lot more in common with the first one than I thought it would.
Than you were expecting. Yeah,
it still maintains that sort of core horror theming to it. Mm-hmm. But it's also one of those things where it's something that's so influential to every single piece of media set with like people fighting aliens that it feels like I've seen this movie like 30 times before, even though I had never seen it before we watched it this time.
Yeah, like we watched Dog Soldiers, and Dog Soldiers is pretty much ripping off.
It's Aliens,
beat for beat.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like playing Half-Life 2 and being like, what is this? Is just like a boring first-person shooter, and not realizing that this is like the first place that did like all the stuff Half-Life 2 is doing. It's the same exact thing.
It's the foundation.
Yeah. It feels boring now because we've seen it copied so many times.
Yeah. It definitely, in a way that like I feel like the original Alien also inspired stuff too, but I feel like it definitely, especially after rewatching it this time, the first Alien stands up to the test of time a lot better.
Yes.
Like
this feels like a movie made in 1986.
Yeah. Whereas like if you're watching like the first Alien now, especially in 4K, timeless.
Yeah, because there's no like direct this is, because, the first one was directed by Ridley Scott, and this is James Cameron, who is a very, very American director.
Yeah.
And this is a very American-feeling movie. Absolutely. There's not a lot of subtlety going on in Aliens.
Yeah, not a lot of subtext. It's kind of like big bugs, scary, shoot them. So it opens up with, in the escape pod from the end of the first Alien, that Ripley shot the alien out of the airlock in the first one, and... basically she's discovered by some like space salvage guys who like go around looking for space trash. They find her in the cryopod. We skip to some space station over Earth. Ripley wakes up in a hospital bed, and she meets Burke, played by Paul Reiser, who is a fucking piece of shit.
I realized that he's probably who Burke in Fallout 3 is named after.
More and more references.
Yeah. No, yeah, I just keep making connections in my head, mostly to Halo.
Yeah.
I kept saying like, that's the thing from Halo. That's a guy from Halo.
Yeah.
That guy from Halo says 2 lines this guy from Alien says.
Yeah. Especially all the vehicles and the spaceships.
Oh, yeah,
and
the
shit.
Pelican is in this.
Looked
Warthog.
Looked very Halo. Even the ship, the Sulaco, which by the way,
That's the Pillar of Autumn, dude.
Yeah.
Look up the Pillar of Autumn next to the Sulaco. Viewers, listeners.
Yeah, listeners, we're gonna look it up. But the Sulaco is my favorite. Aliens ship, more than the Prometheus, more than the, oh yeah, that is literally the same thing.
He said like this is my favorite ship, and I was like, that's the Pillar of Autumn.
It literally does look the same. People look it up from Halo. Yeah, no, and then Burke is a company man from Weyland-Yutani, and the big evil space Amazon company. And Burke tells her that she has been drifting away in space for 57 years.
57 years.
Which is like, in the Alien universe, is a particularly long cryo. I think typically, if I remember correctly, like at this point in the universe, like cryo, generally speaking, goes from like a few months to a handful of years on the long end. So 57 years is like a hella long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the changes already kind of start here in terms of, like, I realized, so we watched the theatrical cut of this movie today, was what was on HBO Max, but there is a special edition, like, director's cut that adds a whole lot of shit.
Okay.
And
such as,
for example, a plot line that they added in the special edition was Ripley had a daughter.
Huh.
That she left on Earth, and we get like a little bit of of like a flashback.
Oh, I would have liked that.
Yeah,
like it's like, what the fuck, she died.
Yeah, part of me wishes we kind of watched the special, because like I still prefer the theatrical cut overall, because I think it's like a better balanced movie. But I guess the special edition adds some context where like you see Ripley, Burke brings her before she goes in the board meeting or whatever. The insurance policy meeting, like Burke gives her this like folder of information on her daughter who has like since died.
That's cool.
And there's actually pretty cool. There's
sick, dude.
And she looks at this folder and looks at this picture of her daughter like as an old woman, and the picture they used of her daughter in the movie is actually Sigourney Weaver's mom.
Whoa.
So which just clever shit.
Cutting out all the good shit.
Yeah. But basically, so as far as like what we saw. So it starts off, and then Ripley has like a little dream sequence where she dreams that she has a chest burster.
Yeah,
there's gonna go through, and
it does happen.
What did you think about this like little opening sequence here?
It goes by really fast.
Yeah.
Honestly, from the beginning of the movie to us being down on the planet with the Marines,
they want to get us to the planet quick.
It feels like I'm on a rocket ship. Like I'm like we are getting there. Like this is where the movie actually takes place. We need to get there now. So it feels like it's like 3 scenes. Like she wakes up, she tries to get like she tries to get some kind of like just treatment from Weyland-Yutani for the horrible thing that happened to her, and they're a big corporation, so they say no. What are you going to do about it? Haha. And she's upset about it, and then Burke comes to her and is like, "You need to come be an advisor on this aliens thing." Yeah,
they're like, by the way,
and then boom,
and then we're doing aliens.
Yep, she's conflicted about it. She doesn't want to do it, obviously.
Yeah. She's talking to. There's a meeting where she's talking to like these like business people from the company, trying to basically like it's like basically an insurance claim type of deal where like she's trying to explain why she blew up the ship in the first movie. And they claim to not believe her story about the alien and the creature killing the whole crew, basically calling her crazy.
Yeah, which is very realistic.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Which is exactly what would happen in real life.
And it's pretty clear from the jump that like these motherfuckers, or at least some of these motherfuckers, know about the aliens.
Yeah,
and they're just covering their asses.
Meanwhile, a scene later, we need you to come advise on this alien thing because there are aliens and we know that they're real.
Yeah, so there's a space colony. The planet that the ship was on in the first movie is now being colonized and terraformed for humans to live there, and there's a colony of, they say, like 60, 70 families of people. And I love the little line where she like asks like how many colonists, and he's like, I don't know, 60, 70 families, and you see this look of horror.
They're all gonna die
on Sigourney Weaver's face, where she just knows like, oh, they're fucked.
She was basically asking the death toll.
Yeah. But yeah, then exactly like you said, scene later, Burke pulls up to her door and he's like, "Hey, so we lost contact with that colony, and we were wondering if you could come help us out, be a bro."
And it's like, oh, help you out with what? The alien problem?
Yeah. And then he basically bribes her into coming.
Yep.
Essentially,
He says, like, well, your life kind of sucks right now, but these jobs pay pretty well.
Yeah. Well, it's more like the board or whatever of like the company people take away her pilot's license or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're saying that she's crazy. And so she's basically like working at like some space docks, running lifters and shit,
Yeah.
kind of doing grunt work. And Burke is like, if you come, then I'll get your license reinstated so you can do space shit.
Yeah.
Which, man, what a lame thing to bribe with. Like, I'll get you a better job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alien is about like a bunch of blue collar workers.
Yeah.
This is also about blue collar workers and grunts. Just it's the rich, and that's the rich people never have to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
That's like one of the core points of Alien.
Now, there's the connection between this movie and Monkey Man.
Yes. Man, we were like, this movie's not going to be like societally like prescient at all, but now I'm thinking about it.
It pretty much, I mean, yeah, all the Alien movies pretty much are about just like exploitation.
The lower class people are the ones who get the shaft.
Yeah.
Get eaten by aliens.
Exactly. And you can even argue that there's like an element of like animal abuse in there, although they should just be eradicated.
Just nuke them from orbit, dude.
Yeah. But then basically, so she agrees to go, and we get introduced to our squad of Colonial Marines, and this is where the movie really starts for me.
Here's Bill Paxton as Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton as Hudson.
As Bill Paxton character.
Yep. Who he's just real goofy, and there's like a whole team. I guess the three important ones are the ones that make it past the initial skirmish are Hudson Hicks, played by Michael Biehn, who he's like the quiet kind of leader. Like he's you can tell he's just done this a million times before. Like he's fallen asleep on the dropship while they're going down to the planet.
Yeah. And
it's all rocking. And Vasquez, who's like the tough chick, because James
an unfortunate precedent to set for action sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
Because now every Latina character has to be this like tough masculine like badass.
Yeah. Especially because the actress, it's also it's a bit problematic because the actress that plays
Jeanette Goldstein as Vasquez
is this Jewish actress,
Yeesh.
Not Latino at all.
Brown face.
Yeah, no, there's some brown face in this movie for sure.
Wow.
But I really liked Vasquez as a kid, and I thought Vasquez was cool, and I didn't know about up until I found that out. I thought
she is cool if you don't think about that.
Yeah, and there's an iconic line in the scene where like she's doing pull-ups and she's like all swollen shit, and Hudson comes up and he's like, "Hey Vasquez, you ever been mistaken for a man?" And she's like, "No, have you?" There are so many goddamn quotable lines in this movie.
Yeah, there really are a lot that I didn't even know came from this movie.
Yeah, that have been referenced in other
he pulls the shotgun out. He's like, "I like to keep this for close encounters." And the other guy's like, "Damn right." And I'm like, "That is Modern Warfare 1." In the boat level, he says that exact line, and the other guy responds, and then they're like, "Get up, we are leaving." And that happens later in that same level. I didn't expect so much influence from Aliens to get into Call of Duty, but here we are.
Honestly, it feels like as we were watching, a lot more. This movie feels like it's influenced video games a lot more than.
I can name a lot of games.
Yeah, than like films, because I'm trying to think as far as like movies with this premise. It's kind of like we mentioned Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, just the basic concept. Like honestly, like I think Predator came out in like 1989 or something, right?
Yeah, it came out after this.
Yeah, and this Predator feels like this movie feels a lot like Predator to me. I mean, I've seen Predator a lot more, obviously, but like this, it's a very similar premise. Like these roughneck like Marines or like military guys just that are now the prey to like this bigger, scarier thing. I can see why they did a crossover. Yeah. I don't see why it had to suck.
The first one didn't suck that bad.
It was PG-13.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been PG-13. It's funny, both of these franchises are so I don't know why they did, because both these franchises are so heavily R-rated.
Yeah.
The fact that first movie was PG-13
It doesn't make any sense.
was so disappointing.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if you could do a good AVP movie today.
Probably.
Like, if it's possible.
It just depends on who's making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely could, I think.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know. We're getting back into the realm of, like, new Alien and Predator content. Although before that, we need to get our Samurai Predator movie first, though.
I don't know. I'm for some reason I'm thinking of like the Batman and how he's presented. I think if you handled Predator like that, like I don't know, just have the right director, just have it look good and feel good. I don't know.
Yeah,
it can be a stupid story. Just have it feel. Just have it be like visceral and fun to watch.
Yeah. But yeah, we get introduced to all the Marines. We get introduced to Bishop with the knife trick scene, which is a scene.
Scary scene.
I have stabbed my hand with a goddamn pen so many times.
Trying to redo the scene.
As a child, trying to redo the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I poked.
5-finger fillet.
Yep. And Ripley is all robo-racist against Bishop.
Yeah.
And they kind of set Bishop up as like being another Ash, being another.
He was in Modern Warfare 2. There's a connection.
Yep.
I for sure thought that he was going to betray them.
Yeah, they set it up that way. I think they make you.
Yeah,
but no, he's just chill the whole time. Like Bishop's a homie.
Yeah, he ended up being a cool guy.
Yeah, all along. Not all hashtag not all robots. Not all droids.
Arab.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no. So we go down to the planet. And just I feel like before we encounter the aliens, it's first off, we get some good environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
When they first show up to the colony, it's vacant, no one's home. When they get inside, it's clear that there was another movie that happened here.
There's a bunch of gunk all over the walls.
There's a bunch of gunk and like
everything's all ripped apart.
Acid holes in walls.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think Ripley as an advisor, as soon as you see the acid holes in the floors, it would be like, all right, everybody back on the ship. We're gonna just nuke this place.
Yep, nope, it's a lost cause, man.
Yeah.
Lost fucking cause.
If there's more than one of these things, no, we need to leave now.
Yeah, we're fucked. Like, nope, everyone come back home.
Yeah.
But no, they don't. They decide to stick around. And Ripley tells it like Gorman is the Lieutenant Gorman is the
he's the wet behind the ears. Is he the
he's the commanding officer,
the guy who's clearly in over his head.
Yeah, like he had said that this was only his second mission.
Yeah.
Like period.
Just bad leadership.
Yeah, no, he's just like gets so overwhelmed so quickly. And he's just a fucking dick.
Yep.
And basically he says the area is secure when very clearly it's not.
She's like, no, it's. You heard me. I was like, no, it's not. And then Ripley's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. There's they go into the lab and they find some alive face huggers. There's some dead ones in jars and there's 2 alive ones in jars.
They see those and then they're like, oh man, that's crazy. And they turn around and walk away.
Yeah, and those are Chekhov's face huggers for sure.
And you're like, why didn't you fucking destroy those as soon as you saw them?
Why didn't you throw those down the garbage disposal?
You're gonna want to get rid of those, I think.
Yep. And they come back later in a very good scene.
Yep.
Which we'll get to. And then they find Newt and almost fucking shoot her.
Newt's the little blonde girl.
Rebecca Jordan.
She somehow managed to evade the aliens.
She's the apparent sole survivor. I mean, there's definitely a chance that there are other survivors skirmishing around who they just didn't run into.
Probably not.
Probably not. But I mean, if they're dead.
Yeah, everyone died.
They got blown up at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca. Ripley follows Rebecca down into her little hole. And from the jump, they have a nice little kind of surrogate mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
And in the special edition, like, they make a lot of direct allusions about, like, oh, Ripley lost her daughter, so now she has a new daughter type deal.
I don't understand why they cut that out.
For time really.
Constraints. Yeah, I guess. And, you want to get to that planet. You want to see those aliens.
Yeah, no, like, we got to go. I think also James Cameron I think if I remember reading somewhere it was really important to him to get the movie under 2 hours.
Okay.
I think
Why?
was something, I don't know. He wanted it to be.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, which
Americans don't have attention spans.
pretty much. Although now he doesn't give a shit because Avatar 2 was like 8 hours.
Now I'm going to make 100 hours of Avatar content, and you will watch every minute.
He made Titanic, and it was fucking game over, man.
Yeah, game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
I like Sigourney Weaver as like a mother figure to this little girl, and they do succeed. I'm not a kid person. They succeed in making me like this kid, even though I very clearly see it. Like, this line is in here to make me like the kid. Yeah. But no, they mission accomplished.
Yeah, no, they make you care about the kid. Newt's really good. She's really quiet. I think the biggest thing is you understand how traumatized she is from it. Like, just from her eyes and her expression when like Sigourney Weaver,
she's like trying to talk to her and she's just non-responsive.
Yeah, she's just like so horrified by the shit that she's seen.
Yeah.
And she opens up like a little bit, and she has some like really cute moments. Like, I love like later in the movie when Hudson's freaking out about how they're gonna survive, and Ripley's like, this little girl survived here with no training, like, for months, and fucking Newt just like, she has like a soldier helmet on, she looks up at Hudson and gives him a little salute.
She's really funny.
Yeah, and Hudson's like, why don't you put her in charge?
It always devolves into a Shaggy impression.
Like,
why don't you put her in charge?
I love Bill Paxton so much. R.I.P. Also, fun. I've watched this movie so much, and I've watched this movie with a director commentary, and there's a cast commentary track where they got Michael Biehn, Jeanette Goldstein, Bill Paxton, and the actor that plays Bishop.
Yeah.
Those four have
cool.
a commentary track, and it's really good. And Bill Paxton is so fucking funny, like just in the commentary track.
I can tell.
But anyway, yeah, we get to Newt. And then, up to this point, we haven't seen any creatures yet beyond the facehuggers. Mm-hmm. And do you think... I know some people have said that, like, it takes too long to get to the creatures, but we get to them a lot faster in this one.
I don't think so. One. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that opinion. I think this movie moves, like, on a bullet. Like, it is, like, we see the... I mean, the facehuggers count. Like, they're scary enough. Like, they're half of what's scary about the aliens anyway.
They're scarier than the Xenos, in my opinion.
Yeah, because they're smaller. They're like a little dog enemy in a video game. Like, you can't really get them as easy. They just creep up on you really fast and jump on your face.
Same thing with the head crabs. And
no thanks.
Yeah, no, not for me.
Yeah, head crabs. Yeah, speaking of Life 2.
Yeah, so they find all the colonist trackers right in the core of, like, the terraforming, like, the atmospheric compressor or whatever.
Yeah,
the atmospheric processor, and they go down, and we enter the alien nest, which is a really fucking cool set design.
It is really cool.
Like, it's all sinewy. It's got big, like, beehive energy.
If you've ever seen, like, the loading screens to the original Doom, it looked like it's that exact kind of, like, pattern. Which, by the way, Doom started life in development as an Aliens game, and then they lost the license. So that's yet another influence, because it was going to be a first-person shooter with aliens, like with xenomorphs, and then they lost the license, so they were like, let's just make it all fantasy stuff. This movie is one of the most influential movies ever made, I think.
Honestly,
yeah.
To, like, just modern, any military sci-fi thing,
anything, any military thing, any sci-fi thing, any action movie in general, action game, like, you see its references everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's it really is just so influential. But yeah, we're in the hive. They find a surviving colonist in the wall. Really creepy scene. Her skin is like gray.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that there were any colonists left, even though it's been like a couple of months.
They're keeping them alive as incubators.
I suppose so. Waiting for the fresh meat to come in.
Yeah.
And an important scene here that they comes up again later. We find out that they're right basically they can't shoot bullets in there or like explode anything because they're right under the reactor or whatever of the colony, and if they rupture it, then it's going to explode, which later it does. And when I was a kid, I never made the connection that they're the ones who did it. I don't know why. It wasn't.
Who caused the explosion?
Yeah, the cause and effect really wasn't there for me as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there again is like the whole reason why Gorman's a fucking dick, because Gorman just tells them like no firing in there, but doesn't
shoot.
But doesn't tell them why.
Yeah,
you know,
a poor leader.
Yeah, they'd probably be like a lot more inclined to not shoot around if they know that, like, yeah, if you guys,
you'll evaporate everyone.
Yeah, you're gonna set off a nuke if you don't.
Yeah,
like if you're not careful. And as soon as,
and it's like he's like, do not shoot, but continue into the big hole. Yeah. It's like, why don't you maybe like pull back and reassess at this point?
Yeah. Maybe like take them out and then we'll come in with a new strategy.
Yeah,
some different weapons, a different loadout. You got to be spec'd for it.
It's fun. It's funny because it's such clearly like stupid horror movie decisions, but it makes sense because everyone's had a shitty, stupid boss who doesn't know what they're doing.
Exactly. Like we've all been directed by I was directed by a Gorman a few days ago.
It just makes sense because it's like, yeah, well, you know, it is stupid, fucking asshole. Like, you gotta continue on with the movie.
You got to do what your dumb boss says.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But as soon as they put the ammo away, like they're all whipping out like hidden ammo and like. Hicks pulls out his shotgun. I like to keep this handy for close encounters. You know, so they find, and then the aliens start coming out of the walls, and I always thought that it was just the coolest shit.
But you can't even see them until they start moving.
Exactly, like they fit into the geometry of the cave so well.
It's so cool.
It's really creepy. Really, I remember being terrified of it as a kid. Just the idea that you're surrounded by so much threat and you have no idea.
Yeah, and imagine like, imagine a perfect cutout of a monster in your wall, and the monster can fill it in perfectly.
Yeah, no, just
and you just walk. That's the thing is like. They pop out and start attacking, and I was like, they probably walked by like 15 of those things on the way here.
They're probably already so deep into the shit.
That's so scary.
And yeah, in this movie, the aliens aren't. The suit design is a bit different than it is in the first one. Just down to like they were designed with like kind of more standard human proportions than the first one. Cause, like, the first alien suit was made specifically for. I forget his name, but they got this performer who's this like
tall guy,
super tall, super skinny guy, very specifically for him, like a very unusual body type. Whereas these suits are made specifically for like normal bodies, and they got dancers actually, like
makes sense,
ballet and like specialists like dancers to and it makes sense because I feel like the aliens' movements in this movie are a lot. I don't know.
Snakier.
A lot snakier, a lot more kind of like serpentine, whereas like the alien in the first movie, when you see it move significantly, always kind of looked a little goofy.
Yeah, that's true. I do prefer the alien one creature design though.
Yeah, like
I like the big smooth head and the I like how you know that original H.R. Giger design.
Yeah,
biased toward my boy.
Just overall, like that first alien is so much bigger.
Yeah.
Know?
And he's also just huge.
Yeah.
He's not just like a bug.
And the way Ridley Scott like shows it and presents it in certain scenes, like it's never as scary as like for me in the first Alien, the final scene on the escape pod when it like falls out of the smoke and it's struggling to breathe, and then it kind of slowly rises out of the smoke.
Yeah,
that's my favorite like shot. Of the alien.
It's so good.
Yeah, and with the creature, with all of the Xenos, they never really quite reach the height. I mean, they're really cool looking. I think
inevitably the threat's gonna feel diminished.
Yeah,
because like, well, now everyone's got machine guns and you're just blowing away. Like, yeah, it bleeds on you and it hurts, but like, the idea of even killing this thing felt impossible in the first movie.
Yeah. The main threat for this one though is that, it makes an individual alien a lot less scary for sure. But the threat really comes more from the amount that there are. Yeah. And them just being so overwhelmed.
Yeah, there are a few shots when, like, there's a wide shot and there's, like, 12 aliens. And it's like, oh, fuck. Like, that is scary.
and it makes you feel like there's just armies and armies and armies of them, really, and they only had like 7 suits.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, it feels like there's like a swarm of them, like that shot in AVP on the pyramid.
Yeah, where it just goes out for miles.
Yeah.
And there are just fucking thousands and thousands of aliens.
Stupid ass movie.
Yeah, I love that movie though. Even that flashback scene. Yeah. So there's some pretty cool like mini set pieces like that they do with the acid, like someone's face gets all burnt.
Yeah.
Hudson shoots the alien in the mouth as a trap. Like I love that shot where like they're closing the door, forget him, he's gone, and the alien hands just come in.
Oh my god, it's so scary.
Yeah, just so cool. And then Bill Paxton shoots it in the mouth with the shotgun.
Eat this or something like that.
Which, by the way, fun fact about that scene and a couple of other, James Cameron used a lot of like pretty, very practical like little special effects shots and like little just things that make sense when you think about it, but like it's just really cool. Like for example, the shot where Bill Paxton
blows the thing's head off.
When he so they tried to shoot it a few times where he put the shotgun in the alien's mouth, but like it was a heavy prop and he always like missed and it never really looked right. So James Cameron's like, okay, you're just gonna pull it out and we're gonna reverse it.
Throw it in reverse.
Yeah, and that's what they did for that shot.
That makes a lot of sense.
And there's a couple of other shots where they use reverse too. Like one of the biggest ones being like, it's a really fast shot, but later on in the movie when Ripley and Newt are being attacked by the facehuggers, there's a shot where a facehugger jumps up onto a chair and then jumps at the camera. That little jump, it was 3 separate facehugger props cut together, and when it was jumping up on the chair, it was literally like they had a line attached to it. They put it on the chair and then pulled it off.
Wow.
And then they reversed it to make it look like it jumped up. And they used
so simple.
Yeah, like James Cameron, like all the shots where they're on the ceilings, the aliens, they just shot upside down. You know, like James Cameron just like is just these like little simple tricks. Like he's just so good at implementing them.
Efficient man.
And they're in ways that like if it was, and it was a nice close-up shot too of him using the shotgun, so you don't think about it even.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure if it was a wider shot and you saw everybody moving, you'd feel like it was unnatural.
Yeah.
You either need to be James Cameron or Christopher Nolan to be able to do backward shit properly.
Yeah. Chris Nolan did a whole movie about backward shit.
And it was fucking awesome.
It's called Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Going backwards in time. But yeah, no. So up to this point, we got our 3 Marines, and we got Ripley on the. I think Ripley wants to nuke the site from orbit.
Which is a good call.
Like
Which I agree with.
The obvious call. There's a cool scene where they're like rampaging out and they're like a little tank. You really liked the tank car.
I did. I thought it was cool. If you look up like the vehicles in Red Faction Guerrilla, like the military APC, like a Red Faction Guerrilla APC, it looks a lot like that. And that's another thing I grew up with that I love that I didn't even know was probably a direct
reference to aliens.
Yeah. And they look a lot like them.
Oh my god, they do.
Yeah.
Just looked it up, folks. Yeah, no, like everything really comes from aliens.
Yeah, Red Faction 1 is a lot like Aliens too, now that I'm thinking about it. Literally every sci-fi game I've ever played is just Aliens.
Yeah. But no, and then they try to call the ship down. There's an alien on the ship. It kills the pilot. There's goo. There's goo.
There's a lot of goo in this movie.
There's a lot of goo. With the alien movies, if you find goo, you're fucked.
Goo central, these movies.
Yeah, no, petroleum jelly fruit, especially in Alien 4, the aliens are especially gooey.
So much goop.
I want to show you this particular scene. So for audio audience at home, I'm looking up a scene from Alien Resurrection.
It's like it's the perfect animal, but it's like leaking fluid all the time and just spilling it all over the floor like my dog.
100%. They really went like extra goopy with these goddamn aliens in this one.
Alien 4.
I gotta find. Yeah, so like, see, just even from that thumbnail, look how goopy they are.
So moist.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this particular clip. What is it teaching? Oh, you know, learning. Yeah, we are going to do episodes on Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, especially Alien Resurrection. Oh my god. Yeah, How to Train Your Xenomorph is the clip I'm showing Joseph.
Okay.
where you see how Brad Dourif is there.
Brad Dourif, yeah, okay.
And there's a look how goopy this goddamn alien is. Like,
is he so wet?
It's too goopy.
You can it's like a thick layer of moisture just flowing down.
I want to
like a waterfall.
I want to towel it off.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. This
it's a sick little ponytail Brad Dourif has.
I think the creature design looks great though. That's in this one. I do think the practical effects in this one are great. I mean, like it's got the dome head and it's got, but it's.
He knows that there's like a little mouth that comes out of the bigger mouth, right?
He does, yeah. He's being weird.
Glass.
He's kissing the glass.
Brad Dourif being extremely Brad Dourif.
Right now, he's kissing the alien.
If you want just a creep in your movie,
just get Brad Dourif. Get your boy Chucky.
God damn, that guy's a fucking creepy looking guy.
Yeah, and the alien just scared him, and he's like, no.
It is very wet. No, it's like it's supposed to be the perfect organisms, but it's just losing moisture all the time.
So much fluids.
Put that thing on Arrakis, it dries right up. Dune reference in there. Brad Dourif, Dune in there.
This is now the Dune podcast.
Yeah.
So what happens next? They find out that I think I'm not forgetting the order. They find out that they did rupture the coolant system thing. So they have 4 hours before the whole complex explodes. And they also there's some other like little scenes in there too of them like learning stuff.
Got the MP40s on camera jibs on camera like steady rigs.
Yeah, they have the smart gun camera rigs, which I always thought looked really cool growing up. But
there's a camera crane at the beginning.
And a camera crane at the beginning that cuts into the ship. In retrospect, it looks a little goofy, especially with Vasquez. Like she has to stretch out her arms so far.
I thought it looked pretty cool. I think it's just at like a weird height for a gun because it's at like the middle of their torso, and it should either be like at their shoulder or like at their hip.
Yeah,
but it's an MP40. It's like a World War II like German machine gun that they have. Like it doesn't even look like it's been altered aside from it's on like a rig.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it is pretty sick. But yeah, no, so they find out the place is gonna blow. We get, like I had mentioned earlier, a great fucking scene with the face huggers. Like Ripley and Newt are trapped in the lab room.
It's an MG42. I said MP40.
Oh, okay.
Just for the listeners,
for the gun nuts out there.
I just want you guys to know that I know what guns are.
Played all the Call of Duty games.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I get this knowledge, by the way.
Yeah. But basically, there's this scene with the face. Newt and Ripley are trapped in the lab room.
Yeah.
And the face somebody, don't know who, tipped over the facehugger jars, and the facehuggers are now
probably that fucking android.
Yeah, probably fucking Bishop. And basically, they're trying to not get got by these facehuggers, and it's the most straight up horror scene in the movie.
It is very scary.
Just seeing like little shots of like the facehugger crittering around the room, because
like if it gets on you, like it's just you cannot remove that thing until it's just done.
Yeah, no, you're just fucked.
No, literally.
Yeah.
It's fucking, it's terrifying.
Literally. Yeah, no, it is like a little.
It's like half like the whole like design behind the alien.
It's a little rape crab.
Yeah, it's suppose you're scared of just being sexually assaulted by this horrible thing.
Yeah. But no, it's a really tense scene. Ripley, Burke. So Burke did it. Like, company man trapped them.
It's fucking Burke.
Because Burke's whole mission there is to take the organism or some element of the organism back to Weyland-Yutani.
Yeah.
For money.
Money.
For lots of money. And he turns the security feed off so the soldiers can't see them. But Ripley smartly triggers the fire alarm.
With a lighter.
With a lighter. It's pretty sick. And thank God she had that.
Yeah. I guess fire extinguishing technology hasn't advanced very much in like the 200 or so years.
Yeah. And the soldiers make it into the room, and I love the shot of like Hudson shoots the glass to kind of break the temper, on it, and then Hicks just jumps through it.
Yeah, he breaks it and then he does like a somersault through.
Yeah, he balls himself up, and I always thought that was a really funny jump.
It is pretty funny.
And then it takes fucking 4 people to pull the goddamn facehugger off of Ripley. Fucking
terrifying, dude.
It's got her around the throat, like it almost has her. and
like articulated.
Yeah, and the whole time it's making these funny little like
Yeah,
ninja noises.
Their tails whip around through the air so fast.
Or whip into their. Yeah, no, that was fun for the listeners at home. But anyway, yeah. So they almost they're mad at Burke. Ripley, like fucking just leans into Burke.
Yeah.
About how much of a dick he is.
Rightly so.
Yep. And then the aliens get past their perimeter. The power gets cut. And this is all an iconic scene of like them with the motion trackers.
Yeah, the heartbeat sensors from Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah. I've got such a nostalgia for that sound. Yeah.
It's such a great. I love that sound choice.
Yeah, it's such.
I love that it's not a beep.
Yeah, it's such an anxiety-inducing noise, and it's
so analog. It's like a record skipping.
Yeah, it's a big part of what scares me so goddamn much about Alien Isolation, because like I take out my tracker and I just hear that noise and I just like I turn fucking.
There we go.
10
There's
years
a playthrough we should do.
10 years old, get an Alien Isolation stream.
Yeah.
That might be the only fucking way I'll be able to play that game. Actually, I'll watch you play it.
There we go. That's a deal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll do that for sure. But yeah, no. So and then it turns out the aliens are in the ceiling, and there's a great fucking shot of Hicks like climbing up to the tiles. They realize that they're in the ceiling.
Yeah,
and he's like,
oh my god, he looks up through. Yeah, and there's like 50 of them.
Yeah, there's just a fuck ton of aliens.
Because yeah, they're like, okay, it's like 4 meters away, 3 meters away. Ripley's like, what are you talking about? That would be in the room. It's like, I'm just reading you what it says. God damn it!
I'm reading it right, man. Look,
like Scoob, they're in the room.
It's a Lynx man. Yeah, so Bill Paxton's freaking out. Yeah, I do. He's just so goddamn funny in this movie.
Hilarious. He's just Shaggy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the aliens start popping out of the ceiling. They start shooting.
Yeah. Big alien action scene. We're shooting a bunch of aliens.
Yep. They crawl into the vents. We lose Vasquez and Gorman. They self-sacrifice with grenades.
Good for them.
Hudson gets got. And then Newt falls down like a little fan tunnel thing.
Oh yeah.
And she ends up in like a little reservoir area. She gets got by an alien, and Hicks is trying to be like, she's gone, forget her. And Ripley's like,
no, we've spent too much time on screen together. No, I have to go back.
She's the cat.
I love her. She's the cat.
Yep.
It, honestly, like, I think the reason they cut the mother thing is because she has enough motivation to want to go back and save her.
Yeah, you don't really need the mother thing.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
It would have been cool, but it really, like, because with everything Ripley's been through, they're basically trauma bonded because they're like the only ones who like really understand each other is like what the real threat is.
Exactly. They both understand like what the Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. And they have that connection right off the bat.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so Ripley Bishop flies Ripley to the final boss area.
All right, go back, I guess.
And she finds Newt. And they come across a big room of eggs,
which is the poster.
I
saw that shot and I was like, this looks extremely familiar.
Of her holding a child.
Yeah,
and, like,
and
all
the
eggs
two guns
around,
taped together.
and the white T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like the iconic look of the white T-shirt and the vest.
And they painted that frame as the poster for the movie.
Yep.
And it's perfect because she's just surrounded by eggs.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fucking iconic.
It's scary.
And we see
the ovipositor.
The ovipositor. Yeah, we see a big egg sack pushing out eggs, and like I said in the
it's
alien,
just a guy's arm.
It's like a dude in there pushing out.
You can see
eggs.
his arm.
You can see his arm through the translucency of the egg.
The way
sack.
it bends, you can like that's just a guy's arm.
There's a guy doing
It's
this.
like a direct elbow in there.
Yeah. And it's real gross, real grody. We see the queen give birth to eggs, and then we
More
see
goop.
and then we see the queen, and it's a really impressive puppet.
It's really cool. The face like descends from like this like face cover shield thing,
And she's got these giant translucent teeth.
yeah,
And like she's just
like receded gums.
Yeah.
It looks like a witch.
Yeah,
with, like and she's mewing. She's got a really impressive jawline.
like super jaws.
Yeah.
Just Benedict Cumberbatch, like I said during the, and she's got this like big shogun like crown. This big Hokage ass.
See, my thing is like I understand the impulse because it is a cool thing. Like the biggest, baddest alien is the queen. But to me, like if I'm thinking of like ants or like
bugs,
a bee, yeah, like it wouldn't necessarily be like that like scary of a thing. It's mainly just like an egg factory. Like the real scary part is how ravenously the hive will like defend the queen. But no, I to me, I don't logically see like in world why the queen would be this big, extra scary alien, rather than just like every part of her anatomy being just like creating eggs.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, it doesn't make sense if you apply real world logic to it.
But it's really cool for an action movie.
Yeah. But we need the final boss fight.
Yeah.
And basically, it's pretty cool too because I love how in this scene the queen kind of shows some intelligence. Like there's a really good moment where, so there are some regular xenomorphs that are starting to descend upon Ripley and Newt.
Yeah.
And Ripley, seeing the threat coming, holds the flamethrower to like one of the eggs on the ground, and the queen's like,
and then they back off.
Yeah, and the queen like motions to the other aliens to back off, and they do.
That's
and,
pretty cool.
Just shows that there is some like higher, like
there's a hierarchy.
There's like a higher.
I mean, they're driven by their biological need, right? Whereas like in nature, a regular animal would probably just attack extra hard if you're threatening their eggs. These are just like a little smarter.
Yeah, no, they have some higher functioning going on.
Yeah.
And then Ripley decides to burn all the eggs anyway because
fuck these things, man.
Fuck these
things
creatures
are awful. They're so goopy. I hate them.
Yeah. They start to make their way. Newt and Ripley start to make their way out, and the alien queen tears herself apart from her egg sac, which in retrospect,
I'm gonna kill you myself.
You know, in retrospect, I do love this puppet and this design. Don't get me wrong.
There are some shots.
The wider shots where you see its legs.
I like the part where she's pumping her arms, chasing after them.
Yeah, down the hallway.
It looks a little bit like Kermit the Frog.
It looks a little goofy. It's like it's a little bit too the way. I think for me, it's the legs. Like the legs are this like wide.
Whoops! Banjo starts singing the Rainbow Connection.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like I was watching and I'm like, damn, like I genuinely think that the alien queen in Alien vs Predator looks I mean, not just because of time.
Yeah,
I think like there are design elements that like about it that make it look better. I mean, they also use CGI for
That's
that
fair.
too.
It's also much bigger in Alien vs Predator.
True, it is a lot bigger.
It's a lot larger.
Yeah. I remember being scared of that one, and also they just have the advantage where, like there are more animatronics like in something I realized like ultimately, or like as I was watching this today was the alien queen in Alien vs Predator has fully functioning like fingers.
Yeah.
Like each of the I distinctly remember a scene of her hand defrosting and she's moving her hand around. Whereas in this in this movie, when you see her hands, they don't really articulate. Like they can kind of bend up and down, but that's really it.
It was their first shot.
Yeah.
Making the alien queen.
Yeah.
The rest, I mean, like they used puppets in the first one too, right? Specifically for like the close-ups of the alien head and it wasn't just a guy in the suit the whole time.
Yeah, no, they used multiple methods. I mean, obviously the chest burster was a puppet.
Well, yeah. Remember when he danced across the diner bar?
Yeah, exactly.
With his top hat and cane.
Hello, my baby. You know what's great about that scene?
Yeah.
I love it. Just for me. So you know that the guy that in Spaceballs with the chest burster, that's John Hurt.
Yeah.
Who was
the same guy
as an alien, and he goes, "Oh no, not again."
I love that. I love they got the same actor.
Yeah, fucking underrated, honestly. God, I need to rewatch Spaceballs.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think it's my favorite Mel Brooks movie at all.
No.
I think
For me, Blazing Saddles is just
Spaceballs coasts a lot on just how much everyone likes Star Wars.
true. But yeah, so the alien queen goes up the elevator because she knows how to use the elevator, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, she waits patiently for the elevator.
Yep. And then Bishop picks up Ripley and Newt.
He comes back.
He does
I
come
thought
back.
that he had betrayed them,
He thought that this was like, oh, we can't trust Bishop. He's a fucking dick.
but he comes back.
Indeed, he
And
does.
he earns Ripley's respect, which he did not have previously.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking. I have no idea how to turn those
Notification sounds.
those down.
That's whatever.
Yeah, but anyway,
He
so
picks her up.
yeah, so Bishop picks them up. They go on to they're back on the Sulaco, and turns out, surprise, surprise, the Queen.
It happened again.
The Queen was there.
Remember the end of Alien when she got on the escape pod and you thought she was safe and she wasn't because there was one last confrontation. We're doing that again.
They did it again. Yep. So she tears Bishop in half, and this is a shot like
All
speaking.
his milk goes flying.
All his milk goes flying. If you like watch that scene carefully, her hands don't like fully separate when she like pulls them apart.
Really?
Yeah, like it's really wonky looking.
It does look pretty weird.
Yeah, and James Cameron always like hated that. Like he's said that like yeah no like I always thought it looked bad. We tried it a bunch of times. I could never get it to look
Never
right.
get it to look the way you wanted.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Nowadays,
James.
if he had the George Lucas mentality, he'd go back like we're gonna fix it with CGI.
If you guys ever find yourself feeling bad for James Cameron, look up two things. One, look up his Oscar speech where he just goes, "I'm king of the world" in front of everybody. Looks like an asshole. And then look up the treatment of the actors and crew on the Abyss, because he almost killed those people.
Yeah. And then try to feel bad for James Cameron.
Yeah, you won't. He's an
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so then we get the epic final boss fight that my 10-year-old self rewatched so many times on our Alien
It is
VHS. With the power loader, which we didn't mention the power loaders earlier.
It's fine. You've seen the power loader before.
Yeah, but it's so cool.
It's like a walker mech that you stand in. It's secretly a really buff guy holding you up.
yeah, but it looks so cool.
It does look really cool. It's yellow. It's all industrial looking.
I found it really funny when we were watching that scene with your girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh, that's what Troy and Abed were."
Yeah,
we're referencing.
We're referencing. Yeah,
The influence never stops.
it's everywhere. It's even when it's directly referenced by name.
Yeah. Yeah, no, pretty sick power loader scene. I mean, it looks great. Like
It does,
all of it,
yeah.
you know.
It's a really convincing effect. It looks like a real robot.
Yeah, it's the only time where you really get a lot of good like to scale like shots of like seeing the Queen and Ripley at the same time.
It is a great fight.
Like there's a lot of good close-ups of like Ripley.
Finally on equal footing. It's very satisfying.
Yep. And then Ripley shoots her out of the airlock.
Yep. In a sequence where her arm would have come off,
100%.
her foot would have come off, everything in that room would have been ripped to shreds by the pressure.
100%. The air would have all been gone so much faster.
Their eyes would have popped out of their heads.
Yeah, it would have been a real bad time. The alien queen grabbing her foot as like when she opens the airlock, grabbing her foot to like there's no
There's
fucking
so
way.
much drag on that alien queen that like that thing is getting pulled out.
She's like 2,000 pounds or
Yeah.
whatever. There's no fucking
It's
way.
got so much surface area. The air's gonna catch it as it's on its way out.
Yeah, and she's still even her space Reeboks were fine.
Yeah, those are Reebok shoes.
her
Branded Reeboks.
Her space Reeboks.
Their logo is the same in whatever year this is
20,
as they were in
21, 20, whatever.
in 1986 or 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think in canon it's like 2080 something, 2180 something.
Yeah,
If I remember.
Makes sense. Whatever.
But yeah, no, and then they go into cryosleep, and then nothing bad ever happened to them ever again.
The end. Everyone was happy.
And then there was not an Alien 3 and 4.
The movie's never got worse.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was Aliens, and
Yeah.
that was the first time you'd seen it. Now,
I had never seen it.
my opinion definitely has been solidified by this viewing of like, yeah, when I was a kid, this was my favorite one.
Yeah,
As far
I can
as
see why.
and it's clear why, because like it hits a lot of the same notes of like things I love in like other
yeah,
kind of movies. Like it's like an adventure. It's like a kind of a scary adventure.
yeah.
You know, but that first movie just really stands the test of time.
Oh, it's timeless. Yeah,
Like from the cinematography down to like the writing down to like just, you know, the filmmaking techniques used just really are just like, I think it just comes out like Ridley Scott is a more, like you kind of put it, Ridley Scott makes films. James Cameron makes movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. James Cameron's Blade Runner sequel would have fucking sucked. Or it would have been one of the best sci-fi movies ever made.
Honestly, James Cameron making a Blade Runner movie would be fucking sick. You're not gonna, it'd be so
Blade Runners.
Oh, that would be so good.
Attack of the Replicants.
Yeah. Fucking Blade Runner 2, The Way of Water. Blade Runner 3, I mean.
Blade Runner 2 Revengeances.
Yeah. Blade Runner 2, Judgment Day. Anyway, but yeah, no, so tell me, yes, after watching it, your opinion, do you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
With
can
them?
see why you liked it as a kid. I think Alien 1 is still on most levels a better movie, but is it more entertaining? That really just comes down to like your preference.
Yeah.
And honestly, is it a better movie comes down to your preference too.
Uh-huh.
Like Blade Runner Blade Runner Alien 1 has this like it's a horror movie, but it has like themes. Like it's not really like making any commentary. It's just got themes to amplify the horror, and it's I'm not going to say that it's any more complex than Aliens, but Aliens is just a lot more broad, and a lot more it's you know, the classic thing is like Alien 1 is a horror movie, Aliens is an action movie. And on some level that's true, but it's a lot less cut and dry than that upon actually seeing it. Yeah, I still like the first one better.
Yeah, same. The first one does take the cake for me. Honestly, this might be hard for me to say. I think I might prefer Alien vs. Predator
Whoa.
as a movie to this movie.
To Aliens?
To Aliens, yeah. I think I might find Alien vs. Predator more fun.
That's bananas.
Yeah, no, that's nuts. I definitely like the characters in this better, though.
I think my only real problem with this movie is that I feel like I've seen everything in it a billion times. So it just like was like I just felt like I'd seen it before and like recently.
Yeah. That's not necessarily the movie's fault.
Exactly. No,
Yeah,
it's not a fair
it's
criticism, but it is there.
Society's fault.
It's society.
Yeah. To wrap up, so this might be a hard one just because there's a lot. But what prop are you taking?
I want the articulated face hugger with the fingers that move around.
That's a good one.
I want that one.
That's a really, really good one.
I saw that and I was like, that's it, locking it in.
Lock and loaded, the face hugger in the jar.
Yeah.
I think that's what me and Courtney were talking about this movie. Like, that's what they would want is a face hugger in a jar.
Just a living one.
Yeah. I used to think, so before, earlier I was thinking like, oh, I'm just going to say Hicks's shotgun. But it is just a normal shotgun.
It's a pump shotgun.
Yeah, so it's not.
You can go to any like sporting goods store and get a pump shotgun.
Yeah, it's not really special.
Yeah.
You know, I would know that it was special. But aside from that, there's so many goddamn options. I really like
What about like the power loader costume?
the power loader costume. Be cool. I wouldn't know where I would put it. I'm trying to think of something
You
like
gotta have something you like have in real life.
yeah, like I want something that I can have like handheld. Maybe the tracker.
That's cool.
Like the movement tracker. It's reading right, man. Look. Or like one of their helmets. They have some pretty cool helmets.
They do have cool helmets. Pretty much all the props are cool. I like the production design in both of these movies a lot.
Yeah. For sure. I'm excited to see in Alien Romulus how they kind of like bridge these two
I'm so pumped for that movie
designs together.
because I loved Prey so much.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of like taking a franchise that may have jumped the shark a while ago,
Yeah.
and trying to like do something new and serious with it.
You know, there is a pretty logical franchise that I could see. Oh, here's how I want to end this episode. Okay. So if this franchise could get the Prey treatment that I'm about to say, the Prey / Alien Romulus treatment, who would you want to see direct it?
Ooh,
Terminator. Because I feel like Terminator could get a good like Prey Romulus type of like revival, like
an actual like back to basics, like
back to
one
basics.
scary Terminator trying to kill you.
Yeah, like a back to basics. Who modern director?
What about the guys who
kill it?
did Crank?
Neville Dean Taylor?
That'd be fucking wild.
That'd be pretty fucking.
Because
cool.
like it's like because Terminator is essentially just one big chase. Like at its heart, like you this thing's hunting you down and it's not going to stop. So maybe someone who can do that like insane, never stops like action, like I don't like Speed almost, but with the Terminator. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's not a bad poll.
Because it doesn't have to be like I don't like every monster movie being like Halloween where it's just a big scary guy in the distance. Like I think because Terminator is an action franchise, I like the idea of it being constantly on your tail and you have to always be moving and like trying to outsmart it because it doesn't sleep. How about you?
That's a good pick. Ooh, I know who I'd want to do it. Did you see Talk to Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like the YouTuber guys.
Raka guys.
Yeah.
I love they did a good job making a scary movie, but I mostly know them from like their YouTube stuff is like very action heavy. Like they've got a really good sense for like environmental destruction and like a lot of good like energy with things moving fast. And for me personally, when I think of Terminator and like my key memories of Terminator is like in Terminator 2 when the T-1000 and Arnold are like throwing each other through walls and shit.
Yeah.
And there's like that kind of like energy of like just two fucking fridges fighting each other.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like they could bring that energy, but they could also bring kind of some of the horror back that the first Terminator had.
You're gonna hate me for this. I want to see a Denis Villeneuve Terminator movie.
Yeah, no, that's lukewarm.
I'm just thinking of Blade Runner 2049 in that opening scene where he is. He's fighting Dave Bautista. Yeah. I don't want a whole movie like that.
Batista would be a good Terminator.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe it could be cool. I don't know.
That's one option. And I was thinking about what's his name? Garrett, the guy who did Creator and I can never remember.
Gareth Edwards.
Yeah,
he could be cool.
He would be good. He would be cool for like a Terminator Salvation. Like
I was literally gonna say,
the apocalypse is happening.
He could do the Machine War movie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
No, I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see him do like a remake of Terminator 1.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't be as good. But as far as like crafting a world,
yes,
I agree with that totally.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
My pick for Terminator Salvation reboot. You got to keep Christian Bale though. I want to see him unhappy.
Keep him mad.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting pretty late. We both got work early.
Yeah.
This has been Midnight Movie Gang. It is 10:39 p.m. Night Movie Gang. Thank you so much for listening. And I didn't say this for the Monkey Man thing. I might tack this on to the Monkey Man episode. What I'm about to say. Please hit us up on Instagram. And I should have had our Instagram up so that I could tell you.
Like us on Instagram.
Like us on Instagram, but also hit us up on Instagram. We're just at Midnight Movie Gang, all one word, all together. Hit us up and let us know what movies we should talk about next.
Check us out.
Any of your cult favorites, hidden gems. And if you want to be a guest on the show and talk about your favorite cult movie, hit me up. Hit us up at Midnight Movie Gang. And
we want to hear from you.
We want to hear from you, the listeners, because people do listen to us for some reason.
Please continue.
I don't know why. Yeah. Anyway, have a nice night, y'all. Goodbye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
So, here we go. With childish frustrations and complexes, the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Mrs. Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. Where's everybody that I'm here to go? Oh, please tell me where they've gone. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How long is it? How hopeless could I got in here? 3 tickets to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think?